Okay, good afternoon, and it's January the 24th, 2021. And we're here today. We're going to talk about JMRI operations and about space on the railroad. Critical subject because if you don't have what I affectionately call this wiggle room, and the writer of the program, Dan Boudreau, will tell you the same thing. If you don't have wiggle room, it really doesn't work well. So I'm going to go show you a couple things, then I'm going to go show you what happens in the program, and then we'll go talk about it in general. As I said, okay, many a times, just to understand this railroad, this is the central division of the Grande Pacific Railroad. It's an east-west railroad. It runs from St. Louis to the west coast. This is one section. It runs from in the middle of the railroad. That's why it's called the central division. That runs from Golden to Junction. This is Golden, and down here you have Junction. So, in the points in between that the railroad services. So the concept is here that you have trains that could be what we call transcontinental freight trains that run all the way across the entire railroad, and a crew picks them up at a crew point, which i.e. is Golden, and the crew point ends at Junction, which is something that is estimated by the railroad could be accomplished in 10 hours. So this is the concept. So this is Junction. Okay? Kind of been over this a couple of times on my railroad, but I'll explain it again. The first 4 tracks right here are yard tracks. It's called Junction Industrial Yard. And again, in the JMRI system, these 4 tracks are 4 big spurs. They are not yard tracks. We want the loads to flip, so they got to be spurs. The 3 tracks in the back, we don't have any engines. Well, the GM&O engines are back there on one train. Those 2 trains back there, or the 3 tracks in the back, are the staging tracks. Those are stage trains, okay? Engines sitting on that track are just arrival and departure tracks. Again, another example of, though, if you can afford it, wiggle room. That's what I call this, wiggle. Got to have places to move cars around and things like that. One thing that I want to point out, and I'm going to show you what happens when you go to build trains. Now, these tracks are all measured out. You'll notice at the end of the 4 tracks, there's no space. You're going to see what happens when this happens. It occurs. There's virtually only room for 3 or 4 cars. So, and I'm going to show you what happens at the other end. The turn we're going to build, there's no space. So this is a lesson about wiggle room on a railroad to move cars around. Now, that's Junction. This is Golden over here. This is the other end of the railroad, or the other end of the division point, Golden. So we have stage trains in the back, and we have the same 4 yard tracks in the front. And again, if you understand JMRI, I call this a yard, but it isn't a yard. It's 4 spur tracks that are called Golden Industrial Yard. Okay? And not a lot of people scratching their heads out there, but that's what we call it. It's Golden Industrial Yard, and it's made up of 4 spur tracks. track number 4, right there, when you set it up, it's limited. It only takes grain cars and ethanol cars. And believe me, when you build the ethanol grain train, it all comes out of track 4. It's kind of one way to classify your cars. It's a classification track that only accepts 2 cars. Now you get to the end of this yard, and you notice there's a lot of room at the end of the track. Each one of the tracks, there's room. Wiggle room. So it's important because we're going to build basically the same train. It's not the same train in the system, but we're going to build the identical same train to go to the identical same place, and you're going to see the results. The place we're going is right up here. We're going to build a train that says, go to Apex, pick out cars that need to go to Apex Industrial. Excuse me, Apex, not Apex Industrial. This is Apex, Ready Cement, Dependable Auto Parts, the Pillsbury, the Barclays, the Co-op, the Foremost, Team Track, the Lumber Company, Grande Pacific Freight Station, the Depot Track. It could go to the yard and pull out cars at the Apex yard. It can go down there to Kraft Foods and the other 3 or 4 locations down there and swap out cars. It also, I think, can go to the Apex Interchange, which is over here. You see where it says Apex Interchange, which is the track right there, where the carbon black car is sitting. It could pull cars out of there. Now, the problem we ran is a fill train, and it pulled cars out of one yard, came up here and put them up here. Well, it's been a while since I ran one, and you'll notice Ready Mix Cement has 8 cars in it. That's full. That's basically, there's no room. Dependable Auto Parts, it's got 3 cars. That's full. Pillsbury, 2 flour cars and 4 other cars. Actually, it's got one off spot. The Union Pacific car, sugar would go where the flour cars is, so it's got a car off spot. Got 3 cars at the Barclay liquor place. That's full. The grain elevator's full. Got a car at Foremost. That's full. That only takes 1 car. We have 4 cars at the Grande Pacific Freight. That's also full. The actual spot location there only holds 4 cars. Got 2 cars at the Intermogul. That's full. That's all it takes is 2. 4 cars at the Depot. That's full. If you go down here to the Kraft Foods, Apex Foods, and the Van Camp Milk Company, and then we have Pro Petroleum, you notice it's all full. Okay? The only thing it's not completely full, and it's not far from it, there's only room for maybe 4 or 5 cars, is the yard. There's room in here for 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. That's it. So that's where we are. And we'll go inside and show you what happens when you start fooling with this. Now, before I go to the computer and show you what happens when you try to build these trains, it is irrelevant to size. Yes, this is a big railroad, 629 cars. I'll show you where that comes in. Lots of places to run and so forth. But this is only this makes no difference what size your railroad is. This is going to happen If you just have one yard and run trains back and forth out of that yard, or one staging track and run it one back and forth, if everything's full, the program won't function well. So I was talking to my friend, and some of you have seen my videos of Tall Timbers in Santa Fe, railroad up in Baton Rouge. I was talking with Jim this morning, and he's facing the same thing. We are modelers, we accumulate stuff, we see stuff we like, we keep sticking it on the railroad, and we get to a point where we got too many things on the railroad. Pulling cars off this railroad is going to take some thought of which ones come off. It's going to have to be a slow process, because you're going to have to watch what happens when I take certain cars off. Because if they're not available, then they don't go to the industry. Some of these industries have limited number of cars. You know, we may have a bunch of grain cars on the railroad, and we have made a bunch of box cars, because i.e. industry takes a box car. It doesn't make any difference as far as we're concerned which box car, unless it's a specific type, like right here. That's an insulated boxcar, and that is different. Usually they were used to haul beer in. So, RBLs. Dependable auto parts, it's a boxcar is a boxcar is a boxcar. You know, any kind of boxcar can go there. So, again, you know, same thing here. Team Track. Team Track takes boxcars. We don't care. We don't allow our conductors and engineers to look inside the car, see what's there, and their manifests don't tell them. So it's a boxcar. That's all they have to do is put the boxcar, the right one, at the siding. So again, the point being, it doesn't make any difference how big your railroad is. You know, it doesn't make any difference. What I'm talking about today, in filling things up, makes a difference. We're not going to be coming over to Rockridge. It won't play in, but I can stand here and look. We don't have quite the same problem here, but there is an issue. We've ended up with 4 chemical cars for the paper mill, acids and so forth, that they need, but that's it. That's all you can put in there. So that track is full. But then you go in. That's fine, but you go back here, and this may be a case of a car is spotted in the wrong place. The loading, unloading for the mill, paper products or packaging materials, whichever one, in or out, there's 2 empty spots. Then you come over here by Philip Morris and the Supreme Foods, and we have 6 cars. Something ain't right here. Okay, so you can't put the 3 at Philip Morris, and there's only supposed to be 2 at Supreme Foods. It's supposed to be some space in there. So I'd have to go look and see. One of those cars may actually belong down there. But then you turn around, and the other cement company, Hoffa Cement, has no cars. ADM has no cars. It's thing. These 4 cars sitting right in front of you on this track, actually that's a storage track. But there's no wood chip cars at the paper mill. So it's just things you got to keep an eye out and see how the flow of your cars go as to it. Now, this Rockridge was not, we did not send a fill train in here. So this is just normal switching out. And like I said, there may be a mistake over here. If I ran Rockridge again, there's a good chance we could probably pick up some of these cars. They might show up. All right, so let's go take a look at the computer and see what happens when we press the bill button. Okay, this is the trains for the Grande Pacific Railroad. We've gone over and talked about this in other videos. We're talking today mainly right here. Train 40 and 41. JUN is junction, I is industrial, okay, and AP is apex. So this train is going from junction yard to apex, works all spurs and yards, and returns to junction industrial yard. That's 40. 41 is golden industrial to apex. Services all industry in apex and apex yard, and then again it returns if you go and follow the whole thing out. If you go to, again, we're gonna have to give me a break on this, because if you go here, you see it leaves golden, goes to apex, turns at apex, and comes back to golden. We hit the edit button. There's the places it goes. It only works at apex. It has 10 moves each way, so it's 20 moves in apex. It can make. Okay, it picks up, sets out. So there it is. Let's close this stuff. All right, now if I go on 40, which is junction to junction industrial yard to apex industries and back, and we build it, we hit the preview button, and I'm going to just use this instead of trying to go to, got to back off here. I'm going to use this instead of trying to go to Manifest Creator. But you notice it picks up 3 cars out of that big yard at junction. 3 cars. The train's 3 car long. Then it goes up here to apex, and it sets out the 3 cars and picks up 2. Okay? And then it comes back and it sets out the 2 cars in junction industrial yard. This is a direct result. No place to put cars and no place to bring cars back. This is what happens. So let's go back here, train 40. Now I'm going to hit reset. Okay, because I don't want to leave that train built. All right, so now let's go to 41 and build it. That's Golden Industrial Yard, where there is room for the cars, and watch the preview. You pick up 7 cars. This is the real important part here. Look what happens when you get to apex. You set out the 7 cars, but you pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you pick up 10 cars. So we're going to take some of those extra cars and bring them back to Golden Industrial Yard. So there's the 10 cars you bring back. And it's pretty mixed up. It's going after a boxcar. Let's see, where's that at? From Apex to Golden. That's in the yard. No. Anyway, when you print this out, it'll tell you where to get the pickup from is here. I'm sorry. You go to here, the pickups, it'll tell you where to get it from. Apex Food, Barclays, Co-op Grain, Dependable Order, Freight Station, Craft, Ready Cements from Yard Track 3 and Yard Track 4. So it's picking up cars from everywhere at Apex. It's a variety. So again, this is what you want to see. Now, I may go run this train later, but for right now, I'm going to hit the reset button. Okay, that's reset. Okay, one more thing, what you just saw me do, reset those trains. Now, one of the other videos I covered, and I covered this, cars. This is the cars list, and if you want to know how many cars you have on your railroad, 637 right now active cars on this railroad. That does not include coal trains. I run coal trains as unit trains. One's empty, one's full. One, as there's 3 sets of fulls and 2 sets of empties. So there's no need in getting into putting them in the computers. Then believe me, that job, if you pull it when you come here, you can't finish it during a session anyway. So no point tying up the thing. So these are the cars on the railroad. That tells you how many cars on the road. When you look at this line right here, if I build trains, it would show where the car is going to. So right now, if I run down this whole sheet, all 600 cars, that's it, 600 cars just went by. There's nothing there. But the key line is right here. Moves. When I hit that reset button right there, when I built the train, that went from 29 to 30. Let's say that car is one of the ones that's in there. That car went from 29 to 30. When I reset it, it didn't go back to 29. It stays 30. So you don't want to go keep just building trains, hit reset. In the beginning, when you're learning and you're playing, yeah, do it. Do as many times you want. But at some point, you gotta, in the beginning, I would suggest going back. There is a place in here, and I just have to go look. It's probably on this sheet under tools. But you can reset the move count to 0. You probably need to do it after you've been playing with this thing for about a year to then get a true picture of what's happening on your rail. You'll notice on this count sheet on the cars, there are some zeros, but those cars are out of service. We're not doing anything with them right now, business cars and that kind of stuff. I was working on a mail train and it's never developed. The lowest count here is a 15. That actually was 5 or 6 pulpwood cars that I recently got my hands on, got added, and they just haven't caught up. But you watch them, they get pulled more often than other cars. They get moved and the other ones stay. But eventually, though, you'll see all these things are in the 30s and 40s. If you watch it, they all eventually get to where they're pretty close together. Unless it's really an oddball car, and sometimes that doesn't happen. But that's the story for today about what happens when you don't have room. Room at the sidings, room in yards. I go to the trouble when my stage trains run across, it's basically the manifest freights run across the railroad. They hit all the stops, and then it goes back into staging, or in the play world, it's the end of the division point, and some other crew's going to pick it up and move it on down the road. But it stops at the yard, and it goes from 1,300 feet down to 900 feet. It puts cars in the yard. Before it goes back in staging, it's 900 feet long. That means it's got wiggle room in the train. It ended 99% of all my bill failures. I don't get them anymore. I used to always get bill failures on my manifest freights running across the railroad because they were 23, 24 car long, and there was no wiggle room in the trains to say it put a car off and then it wanted to bring a car back in. There was no place in the train for the car. It was hard to understand, but Mr. Boudreau explained it to me and we got it fixed. And I came up with that solution about the stage trains having wiggle room. So today's lesson, I hope everybody gained from this. Again, it's, you know, I didn't use the manifest creator and all that. I just used preview to show you the train that was built. So, yeah, by the way, you can print that out and use it to run trains. I do when I'm around here. Just remember one thing about this, though, and you got to understand this about if you ever get to using Manifest Creator. I got to go to Administrator. I have to go to JMRI. I went up here to Administrator, opened up Administration. This is in Windows. This is the JMRI program. I'm going to open it up, and my JMR Railroad, and then Operations. This is, by the way, this is where those 6 key files are if you ever have to restore them or something. That way you don't have to go to the backup. They're backup panels. These are the key files right here. Right, let's see. Let's see. Well, okay. What I'm doing here is looking for this file right here. This is where the Manifest Creator goes to look. You have to turn this on in the settings. But Manifest Creator goes and looks right in here. And you see that trains 40 and 41 showed up? You got to remember at the end of every session, or whenever you create files, to go in here and delete them. Because the next time, maybe it's 2 weeks, we have a session, and believe me, I learned this one the hard way, people. Went in and printed a train, and I printed it, and one of the operators came in and he says, I got 2 trains out here looking for the same car. And then it dawned on me, we did not clean out the other train and basically created a big mess. That 2 trains were committed to the cars. One had been terminated. And so the cars moved to the new locations. Well, we ran the session and just 050'd the cars he needed to finish. When we finished the session, I had to go justify the whole railroad to straighten the mess out. So you need to come in and, click, and then right click, and then go down and hit delete, and delete it, delete it, delete. Okay, so they're gone. So the next time I run the Manifest Creator program, which is down here, when I run that, and it goes and looks in that folder for a train to print, you don't get the wrong one pop up. Okay, important little lesson there. If you get into using Manifest Creator, which we like because it gives you blocking orders and a little bit neater. The only one that's better than that is the printout for your manifest on rail ops, which nobody seems to have been able to duplicate yet. And Dan Faust has tried several times to duplicate that printout on that program and has not succeeded. I don't know if it's because it is written in another language or what the problem is, but we can't get it, and that's the one feature of rail ops that we miss. But the only feature, but got friends who still run in rail ops. Program is only available if you can get somebody to give you a copy of it. It's the gentleman who owns it, lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but he's no longer. I don't even know if the website is still up, but he hasn't answered it in 5 or 6 years. So, been quite a long time, and he's no longer in the hobby. So, and he bought the rights to it, and then the original writer of the program has since passed away, and it's dead. So, there it is. Thank you, and if you have any questions, as usual, you know, send a message on either a YouTube or the Facebook page, wherever this video will be home based in YouTube. Again, like all good YouTube users, all right, let's go right here. Speaking of the creature, I can do this. This is the YouTube channel. This is what the page looks like. All right, videos. There are many hundreds of videos. I'll call up the Christmas video and run it. All right. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do something else. Can't get the message I caught. You know.
Good morning and Merry Christmas,
okay.
Happy New Year, and
let me turn this off.
Goodbye.
You don't see this. You don't get these two buttons right here. Okay, you don't get to edit and do all that stuff. This is my page, so it comes up that way. Let me go this way here, and let me see. Let's see, library, your videos, watch, like videos. Let's see if I can pick out one here. This is the new guy's thing, homepage. If I go to his site right here, where you see this button, subscribe, click on it, and you see the bell next to it, you got to click on the bell, and you're going to get an option, all personalized, none, click all. Okay, if you don't click on the YouTube channel that you see and say subscribe, and click on the bell, you will not get notifications when I post videos. The other thing that when you're on, let's see, you got to go back here to my channel, you want to get into, if you have an issue with another media's, let's just go ahead and say it, social networking channel, you can communicate with me and talk back and forth right here. It's community. Okay? Let me see. All right, if you go down and you scan down the community, it's all in a post, and right here, you can go in and make comments, public comments. I watch this, I get notified on them, and if you got a question, I'll answer it. It's there. These are all the posts I made, and some of the ones I like. If I see a video that I really think's outstanding or has some important message, like here, this is a great 2-rail O. Man, gee, you talk about, man, makes me look like a pauper. But this is a great 2-rail O video I'll put up. That's my Christmas video, and this is a guy who's doing a great job using, I think it's Cato track, but with the plastic road bed, he's done a great job on it. Painting, some ideas how you can, you know, and I put a link. I'm creating a playlist right here. See if I can do it, if it's there. Playlist. You see painting backdrops? I think I have two in here. One, let's see, painting. Yeah. There's just two. That gentleman who's doing the painting at the top, he's very good at it. I'll add other ones as I go along. He does painting about everything, but I only put stuff that you could apply as a backdrop. You know, he's not Bob Ross, but you know, he's good and it's simple. And I have Grande Pacific, the town of Silverville. In the beginning of there, I show some of the painting of the backdrop at Silverville. I did. So that's some of the information you can get, and that's under playlist. If you go to videos, it's going to just give you a list of every video I've made. It's the hard way to find things on this thing. As you notice, There's 10,600 subscribers. I know I'm past I know I'm past 3.5 million views. It doesn't make me a big YouTuber, but I'm in that top 20% as far as videos go. A couple of videos on here are past the 250,000 range. People have looked at them. So I link a lot of people. I have tons. There's probably close to 150 videos of other people's layouts. So if you click here in the corner, right there where it says the F with the world famous Facebook logo, then it will take you to the face. Which one happened here? That's not right. Supposed to take you to the Facebook page. I have to go look at that. Okay, so this is the Facebook page. Okay, it's the way it currently is. But again, if you want to stick with YouTube, that was what you do with YouTube. So there it is for the day on JMRI Operations and the program operations, which, you know, when you get into why things are not moving and happening, one of the issues you run up to, and I called it wiggle room. You got to have wiggle room, okay? All right, other than that, have another great day, and we're coming to the end of January. I'm going to throw in a little bit of off subject here. People, we have been vaccinated. My wife and I have been vaccinated for the COVID-19 virus. We had no side effects, sore arm for, where we got the shot for 48 hours and it went away. So I'm not going to tell you you have to do it, but I'm going to tell you I got a feeling this is the only way we're going to bring this mess to an end. Until we get people to where the numbers get to a point where we can all say stop, enough, we're going to have to get vaccinated or something, or we're not going to get past this. I'm not going to make any more of a statement than that because I don't want to turn it into a discussion, but that's my recommendation. Some of you have your own reasonings. There are some people I know, and I have friends that have been told by their doctors that they should not get vaccinated. So if you have a doubt, talk to your doctor. And y'all have a great day, and I hope everybody's continues on. Bye-bye.